The sky above Oak Ridge was clear and full of stars on the night the children disappeared. 8-year-old Lucy Martinez was playing with her favorite stuffed rabbit in her backyard when a strange light appeared overhead. She looked up, curious, rather than afraid. The light grew brighter, and then Lucy felt herself rising into the air. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Then everything went dark. 10-year-old Sam Bradley had been setting up his telescope in his backyard just 2 streets away. He wanted to see the meteor shower that was supposed to happen that night. His mom, Ellen, had promised to join him after she finished some paperwork. Sam was adjusting the focus when he saw an unusual pattern of lights in the sky. They weren't stars or planes or satellites. Before he could run inside to tell his mom, a beam of blue-green light surrounded him. Then Sam was gone, leaving only his telescope pointing at the empty sky. Ellen Bradley finished her work and went to join her son, carrying 2 cups of hot chocolate. "Sam, I brought your favorite with the tiny marshmallows," she called. When she reached the backyard, she found only the telescope. The hot chocolate cups fell from her hands, splashing across the grass. "Sam!" she screamed, running around the yard, checking behind trees and bushes. "Sam!" By morning, the small town of Oak Ridge was in chaos. 7 children had vanished during the night. No sounds, no signs of struggle, no footprints. They were simply gone. Ellen paced in Sheriff Paul Winter's office, her military posture rigid with tension. At 40, Ellen was still as fit as during her days as a Marine Scout sniper. Her brown hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her green eyes were sharp with focus. "We're doing everything we can, Ellen," Sheriff Winters said, rubbing his tired eyes. "FBI's on the way." "You're looking in the wrong places," Ellen said. "I went back to my yard at first light. There are burn marks on the grass where Sam was standing, perfect circles. No technology on Earth makes marks like that." Sheriff Winters sighed. "Ellen, I know you're upset. I'm not upset. I'm observing. There was something in the sky last night. Ask Mrs. Garcia. Ask old Pete. They saw it too. Lights in the sky don't take children, Ellen." "Then what does, Paul? 7 kids don't just vanish at once." The sheriff had no answer. Far above Earth, beyond the reach of human telescopes, a massive ship drifted in the darkness. Inside, Sam Bradley woke up in a clear container that looked like glass but felt different. He sat up quickly, heart pounding. The room around him was filled with similar containers. In each one was a child from Oak Ridge. Sam pressed his hands against the clear wall. "Hey, let us out!" His voice sounded muffled even to his own ears. In the container next to him, Lucy Martinez was crying. "I want my mom," she sobbed. "It's okay," Sam called to her. "We'll get out of here." He didn't know if that was true, but his mom always said that staying calm was the first step in any emergency. Strange clicking sounds came from beyond the containers. Sam turned to see tall, insect-like creatures moving around the room. They had 4 arms and walked on 2 legs. Their bodies were covered in a hard shell that looked like green-black armor. Their heads had huge eyes that reflected light like mirrors. One of the creatures approached Sam's container. It tilted its head, studying him. Then it made more clicking sounds and released a cloud of yellow mist from glands on its neck. Another creature responded with clicks and blue mist. "They're talking," Sam realized. "Hey, we can't understand you. Where are we? Why did you take us?" The creatures ignored his questions. One of them pressed something on the wall and a soft mist filled Sam's container. He tried to hold his breath but eventually had to inhale. His eyes grew heavy, and he slipped back into darkness. Back on Earth, Ellen Bradley walked the perimeter of her yard for the 10th time. She had marked the burn patterns with stakes and string, creating a perfect circle 6 feet in diameter. She took pictures, measured radiation levels with equipment borrowed from the local college, and collected soil samples. Other parents were at home crying or talking to police. Ellen was gathering evidence. Her phone rang. It was Ben Martinez, Lucy's father. "Ellen, the FBI agents are here. They're asking questions about our kids' behavior if they'd been acting strange. They think this is some kind of mass runaway situation." Ellen gritted her teeth. That's ridiculous. Sam wouldn't run away. None of them would. And it doesn't explain what happened in our yards. I know, Ben's voice broke. Maria hasn't stopped crying. Can you come over? You're the only one making any sense right now. Ellen agreed and drove to the Martinez home. FBI agents in dark suits were speaking to parents in the living room. She slipped past them and found Ben in the kitchen. Look at this, Ben whispered, pulling her to the backyard. I didn't tell the agents yet. I wanted you to see it first. In Lucy's play area, Ellen found the same circular burn pattern as in her yard. She knelt and touched the grass. It was brittle, like it had been flash frozen, then heated. It's the same, she said. Have you checked with the other families? Ben nodded. Similar marks at each house where a child was taken. Ellen stood up, her mind racing. This wasn't human, Ben. These aren't the marks of any vehicle or device I've ever seen, and I had top-level clearance in the Marines. What are you saying? Aliens? Ben looked scared and hopeful at the same time. I'm saying we need to look up, not around. Ellen pointed to the sky. Whatever took our children came from up there, and that's where I'm going to find them. That night, Ellen broke into the university observatory. A former student of hers worked there and had mentioned unusual readings from the previous night. Ellen found the data logs and copied them to her tablet. The readings showed massive gravitational fluctuations and electromagnetic pulses centered directly over Oak Ridge, impossible events that had been dismissed as equipment malfunctions. Ellen then drove to a remote spot where her old Marine buddy, Frank Delgado, now ran a private radio telescope array. Frank owed her his life after a mission in Central America years ago. I need to know if you picked up anything unusual last night, Ellen told him, showing him the university data. Frank studied her tablet, then slowly nodded. We did. Something big entered Earth's atmosphere at 9:43 p.m., hovered for 17 minutes, then left at a speed our instruments couldn't track. The Air Force called this morning, told us it was a classified test and to delete our data. Ellen's hands formed fists. It wasn't a test, Frank. It took my son. It took 7 children. Frank stared at her for a long moment. What are you going to do? Ellen looked up at the stars, her eyes reflecting their cold light. Whatever I have to. I'm going to find what took my son, and I'm going to bring him home. Aboard the alien vessel, Supreme Researcher Kazatak reviewed the preliminary data on the human specimens. Most interesting, the researcher clicked to an assistant. Their neural patterns show remarkable adaptation already. These humans may be more valuable than we anticipated. In his container, Sam Bradley dreamed of home, of his mother's voice telling him to stay strong, to observe, to survive. Even in sleep, he was already planning, adapting, looking for weaknesses in his prison. In the container beside him, Lucy, Martinez dreamed too, her young mind forming connections with the strange new world around her. And far below, Ellen Bradley prepared for a hunt unlike any in human history. She did not know how she would reach the stars, but she knew with absolute certainty that she would. The creatures who took her son had made a terrible mistake. They had awakened something ancient and powerful in her, the protective instinct, that had driven human mothers to impossible feats since the dawn of time. They had taken her child. She would make them regret it. 3 months passed. The FBI closed their investigation of the missing Oak Ridge children. They called it an unsolved kidnapping, suggesting the children might have been taken by a human trafficking ring. The town held candlelight vigils. Most parents clung to fading hope. But Ellen Bradley did not attend vigils. She hunted. Ellen's home had changed. The living room walls were covered with maps, photos, and scientific papers. Her dining table held computer equipment that tracked satellite, data, and atmospheric anomalies. She had spent her life savings and lost her job as a wilderness guide. None of that mattered to her. Frank Delgado arrived at Ellen's house carrying a box of equipment. He found Ellen examining a strange metal fragment under a microscope. Any luck with that? He asked. Ellen shook her head. It's not made of any element. On the periodic table, I found it in the burn circle where Sam disappeared. Frank set down his box. Ellen, it's been 3 months. Maybe it's time to— To what? Give up? Accept that my son is gone? Ellen's green eyes flashed with anger. Would you? Frank sighed. No, that's why I'm here. He opened the box and pulled out a small device. My contact at NASA smuggled this out. It's a prototype deep space scanner. They've been picking up unusual signals from the Kuiper belt. Ellen took the device, her hands steady despite her exhaustion. This could work with my system. Thank you, Frank. There's more. Frank lowered his voice. I found someone who believes you. A government physicist named Dr. Irene Powell. She wants to meet. Ellen looked up sharply. Why would a government scientist help me? Because her niece was one of the 7. Meanwhile, in the vast darkness of space, the Vazarin research vessel moved farther from Earth. Inside, the human, children were no longer kept in separate containers. They had been moved to a larger habitat designed to mimic Earth conditions. Sam Bradley had become the unofficial leader of the group. At 10 years old, he was the second oldest, but he had a calm authority that the others responded to. He gathered the children in their sleeping area. Everyone remember the plan? He asked quietly. 6 heads nodded. Lucy Martinez, who had become Sam's right hand, showed him a small object she had stolen from one of the alien scientists, a tool that looked like a glowing pen. Good job, Lucy, Sam whispered. Keep it hidden. What will it do? Asked Zach, the youngest at only 6. I'm not sure, Sam admitted. But they use it to open panels in the walls. It might help us. Over the months, the children had learned to observe their captors carefully. They noticed patterns in the aliens' behavior. The insect-like creatures kept them fed and physically healthy, but subjected them to endless tests. Brain scans, blood samples, reflex tests, problem-solving challenges. The aliens seemed fascinated by how quickly the children adapted. One young, Vazarin was assigned to bring the children food. It was smaller than the others with lighter coloring. Lucy had started communicating with it through simple gestures. She called it click because of the softer clicking sounds it made. Click seems different from the others, Lucy told Sam. I think it feels sorry for us. Maybe, Sam said, but we can't trust any of them. Remember what they did to Zach last week. The children fell silent, remembering how Zach had been taken away for a full day and returned drowsy and crying, with a small scar on his head. Supreme researcher Kazutak reviewed the data from the human specimens with growing excitement. Their neural plasticity is extraordinary, Kazutak clicked to the research team. The youngest subjects are already recognizing patterns in our language. Their brains are forming new pathways to process non-human communication. The isolation from their parent units does not seem to have the expected effect, another researcher noted. They have formed a social structure among themselves. Yes, Kaztak agreed. Most fascinating. The oldest female specimen would be expected to lead, but instead, a younger male has assumed control. Their adaptation suggests humans may have potential we did not anticipate. Should we adjust our research protocols? Asked a third scientist. Kaztak released a cloud of purple mist, indicating decision. Yes. Prepare for deep neural mapping. On the leader specimen, I want to understand how this adaptation occurs. Back on Earth, Ellen Bradley met Dr. Irene Powell in an empty parking garage at midnight. The physicist was a small woman with nervous hands and tired eyes. Your son was taken by something not from Earth, Dr. Powell said without introduction. My niece Amy, too. I've known for years that we're not alone, but no one at the agency would listen. I'm listening, Ellen said. What do you know? There's a facility in Nevada. Not Area 51, that's just a distraction. This place is called Black Mesa Research Station. They've had a crashed alien scout ship since 1967. They've never been able to make it work. Ellen's heart beat faster. A ship? An actual spaceship? Dr. Powell nodded. I worked there for 3 years. The technology is beyond us. But I studied the navigation system. It contained star maps of our entire galaxy. How does this help find our children? Because the ship's computer contained data on dozens of alien species, including one that matches the radiation signature you found in your yard. Dr. Powell handed Ellen a flash drive. Everything I know is here, but the ship is the key. If anyone could make it work, I think it would be you. Why me? Because the ship responds to intention, not technology. It's partly biological. It needs a pilot with absolute clarity of purpose. Dr. Powell's eyes filled with tears. And nothing in the universe is clearer than a mother's need to find her child. Ellen took the flash drive. How do we get to this ship? We don't. It's impossible. The security, nothing is impossible, Ellen interrupted. I was a Marine Scout sniper with 15 confirmed kills. I can get in anywhere. Dr. Powell stared at Ellen, then slowly nodded. You'll need help. I have Frank, and now I have you. 3 days later, Ellen, Frank, and Dr. Powell approached the perimeter of Black Mesa Research Station. It was hidden in a canyon, surrounded by motion sensors, armed guards, and electrified fences. The ship is in the central building, Dr. Powell whispered. Sub-level 3. Ellen checked her equipment. She wore black tactical gear and carried only non-lethal weapons. She wouldn't kill to get to Sam, but she would do everything short of that. Stay here with the truck, she told Frank. If we're not back in 2 hours, leave without us. Frank gripped her shoulder. Be careful. Ellen and Dr. Powell used the scientist's access card to enter through a service tunnel. They moved silently through the facility, avoiding security cameras and patrols. When they reached sub-level 3, they found a massive door with a fingerprint scanner. I can't get us past this, Dr. Powell whispered. Ellen pulled out a small kit and took the scientist's hand. I just need your fingerprint. She carefully lifted a print from Dr. Powell's finger and transferred it to a thin membrane, which she pressed against the scanner. The door opened silently. Inside was a large hangar, and there, under bright lights, sat an oval-shaped craft about the size of a small bus. It was smooth and silver, with no visible windows or doors. That's it, Dr. Powell breathed. The scout ship. Ellen approached the craft slowly. As she got closer, the surface of the ship began to shimmer. A seam appeared in the side, widening into an entrance. It's never done that before, Dr. Powell gasped. Ellen stared at the opening. It knows why I'm here. She turned to the scientist. How do we fly it? Theoretically, you sit in the control seat and focus your thoughts. But Ellen, even if you can make it work, where will you go? Space is vast. Ellen touched the ship's smooth surface. I'll find him. A mother can always find her child. An alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. Security had discovered them. We're out of time, Ellen said, pulling Dr. Powell toward the ship's entrance. We have to go now. As they entered the alien craft, Ellen had only one thought. Sam. Her son's face filled her mind. Somewhere in the darkness beyond Earth he was waiting, and nothing in the universe would stop her from finding him. The alien ship responded to Ellen's thoughts as if it were part of her. She and Dr. Powell strapped themselves into seats that formed from the floor as they approached. The ship's walls became transparent, giving them a view of the hangar as armed guards rushed in. Think about moving, Dr. Powell urged. Visualize the ship rising. Ellen closed her eyes and pictured the ship lifting off the ground. She felt a slight vibration, and when she opened her eyes, they were hovering 10 feet in the air. The guards below were shouting and pointing weapons. Now think about going up, through the ceiling, Dr. Powell said. The ship can phase through solid matter at low speeds. Ellen focused again, imagining the ship passing through the ceiling. The silver craft rose, and the concrete above them seemed to turn to mist as they passed through it. Floor after floor of the facility disappeared beneath them until they emerged into the night sky. It worked, Dr. Powell gasped. Head east fast before they scramble jets. Ellen didn't need to touch any controls. She simply thought about flying east at high speed, and the ship shot forward so quickly that she was pressed back into her seat. Within minutes, they were over the Atlantic Ocean. We need to find Frank, Ellen said. As if responding to her concern, A screen appeared in front of them showing Frank's location. He was driving away from the facility just as planned. Another screen showed military aircraft taking off in pursuit of the alien craft. "We need to leave Earth's atmosphere," Dr. Powell said. "This ship isn't designed for prolonged flight in air." Ellen nodded and thought about rising into space. The ship tilted upward, accelerating. The blue sky darkened to black and stars appeared all around them. Ellen felt a moment of fear. She had never imagined herself as an astronaut. But then, Sam's face filled her mind again. For him, she would fly to the end of the universe. "We're in orbit," Dr. Powell said, looking at the displays that had appeared around them. "The ship is generating oxygen and regulating temperature automatically. How do we find the aliens who took our children?" Dr. Powell studied the controls. "The ship has star maps. If we knew which species took them," before she could finish, the main screen changed to show images of several alien races. The images stopped on an insect-like creature. "That's them," Ellen whispered. "That's what I saw in my research. The burn patterns match their technology." The ship's display changed, again showing a course through space. Alien symbols appeared that Ellen couldn't read, but somehow she understood their meaning. The home system of the insect race, a journey of many light years. "The ship knows where to go," Ellen said. "It's reading my intentions." "That's impossible," Dr. Powell began, then stopped. "But so is everything about this. How long will it take to get there?" The ship answered with more symbols. Ellen somehow translated, 3 Earth days. 3 days to cross light years? That's the only chance our children have," Ellen finished. She thought about the course the ship had plotted and felt the craft turn and accelerate. Stars blurred around them as the ship entered some form of faster-than-light travel. On the Vazaran research vessel, Sam was being prepared for the neural mapping procedure. 2 scientists held him down on a metal table while a third approached with a device that looked like a silver crown, with dozens of needle-like probes. "No." Sam struggled but couldn't break free. "Let me go." Suddenly, the young Vazaran that Lucy called Click entered the lab. It made urgent clicking sounds and released clouds of yellow mist. The lead scientist, Supreme Researcher Kuztak, responded with angry red mist. But then, an alarm sounded throughout the ship. All the Vazurans froze, then rushed from the room, leaving Sam strapped to the table. Only Click remained behind. To Sam's shock, Click approached and began unfastening the straps. The young Vazuran made soft clicking sounds that almost sounded comforting. "Are you helping me?" Sam asked. Click made a gesture that seemed like nodding, then pointed to Sam's chest and made a series of clicks. "Me? What about me?" Click pointed to a screen on the wall which showed an image of space. A small dot was moving rapidly toward the Vazuran ship. Click made more clicking sounds and pointed at Sam again. Sam didn't understand the words, but somehow he knew what Click meant. "Something's coming for me?" As Ellen's ship traveled through space faster than any human had gone before, she and Dr. Powell studied the alien database. They learned about the Galactic Concord, an alliance of advanced civilizations that maintained order in this sector of the galaxy. "Earth isn't part of this Concord," Dr. Powell said, reading the translated information. "We're listed as a pre-contact species. They observe us but don't interact. Someone broke that rule when they took our children," Ellen said grimly. They learned that the insect-like aliens were called Vazurans, known throughout the galaxy as biological researchers. Their scientific advances were respected, but their methods were sometimes questioned by other species. "They collect specimens," Dr. Powell said, her voice shaking. "That's what they call our children. Specimens." Ellen clenched her fists. "They'll pay for that." On the 3rd day of their journey, the ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Ahead of them was a massive space station, a wheel-shaped structure, with ships of various designs coming and going. "Incredible," Dr. Powell breathed. "An alien space station. Humanity has dreamed of this moment for centuries." "I'm not here for first contact," Ellen reminded her. "I'm here for Sam." The station was filled with various alien species. Some looked almost human, while others were wildly different, floating clouds of gas, crystalline structures, or tentacled creatures in mechanical suits. Ellen and Dr. Powell covered themselves with cloaks they found in the ship, hiding their human features. The ship's database had provided them with a translation device, a small earpiece that converted alien languages into English. They used it to gather information about Vazuran research vessels. When questioned about their origins, Ellen identified herself simply as a hunter. This term seemed to hold special meaning. Aliens moved away from her, giving her space in crowded corridors. An elderly alien with blue skin and 4 arms approached them in what appeared to be a trading area. "You declare yourself a hunter?" it asked through their translators. "What is your prey?" "Those who took my offspring," Ellen replied. The alien made a gesture of understanding. "Ah, a justified pursuit. This is a sacred right recognized by the conquered. Even the Vazurans must respect it." "The Vazurans have my son," Ellen said. "Where can I find their research vessel?" The blue alien hesitated. "The Vazurans are powerful, with many allies in the Concord. Your pursuit is legally justified, but dangerous. Are you certain you wish to challenge them?" Ellen removed her hood, revealing her human face for the first time. The aliens around her murmured in surprise. "I am certain," she said. "I will find my son if I have to tear apart every Vazuran ship in the galaxy." The blue alien studied her face. "Your species is unknown to me, but your determination is clear. The Vazuran primary research vessel was last reported at the Zelnar outpost, 3 light jumps from here." Before they left, Ellen and Dr. Powell acquired weapons compatible with human physiology from a contraband dealer, impressed by Ellen's determination. "What manner of being are you?" the dealer asked as Ellen tested a weapon that fired pulses of energy. "I am a human," Ellen replied simply. "A mother whose child was taken." The dealer made a sound like wheezing laughter. "If all humans are like you, the galaxy should be grateful they are not yet spacefaring. Take this as well." He handed her a small device. "Shields against Vazuran neural weapons. You will need it." As they departed the station in their ship, word spread throughout the alien outpost about the unknown species whose hunter had declared justified pursuit against the Vazurans. For the first time in centuries, someone had openly challenged the powerful insectoids, and the galaxy watched with interest. In her quarters aboard the Vazuran vessel, Supreme Researcher Kazitak received the reports with concern. A ship of unknown design approaches piloted by a being claiming justified pursuit? Impossible. The humans have no interstellar capability. "The sensors confirm it," her assistant replied. "And the hunter has declared their intention to retrieve the human specimens." Kazitak's antennae quivered. "Prepare our defenses. No one takes my specimens before I complete my research." In the habitat area, Sam gathered the children. "Something's happening. The aliens are scared. Click showed me. Someone's coming for us." Lucy looked up, hope in her eyes for the first time in months. "Do you think it's our parents?" Sam nodded. "I think it's my mom, and if I know her, she's bringing an army." Ellen's ship approached the Zelnar outpost, a small space station orbiting a gas giant with swirling purple clouds. The station's design reminded Ellen of a sea urchin, with spikes extending from a central hub. "We're being hailed," Dr. Powell said, pointing to a flashing light on the control panel. A screen appeared, showing a centaur-like alien with blue-gray skin and 4 eyes. "Unknown vessel. Identify yourself and state your purpose." "My name is Ellen Bradley of Earth. I am in justified pursuit of my child, taken by Vazurans against Concord regulations." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Earth is not a Concord member. Justified pursuit is a right reserved for citizens." "Yet the Vazurans took children from my world," Ellen countered. "If we are not under Concord protection, then the Vazurans had no right to enter our system." The alien was silent for a moment. "Your logic is sound. I am Captain Zaylor of the Concord Peacekeeping Force. We have been monitoring Vazuran research activities with concern." "Then help me find my son," Ellen said. "I cannot officially sanction action against the Vazurans without proof of wrongdoing." However, Sailor paused, then continued in a lower voice. Their research vessel left this outpost 6 hours ago, heading for the Maldek system. If someone were to follow, they might find the vessel conducting prohibited research. The screen displayed a star map with a course plotted. "Thank you," Ellen said. "I did nothing," Sailor replied. "But if you find evidence of conquered violations, the peacekeeping force would be interested." The transmission ended. Ellen looked at Dr. Powell. "We have a heading." Ellen's ship followed the course to the Maldek system, a binary star system with no habitable planets. The Vazuran research vessel was hiding in the shadow of a large asteroid. "There it is," Dr. Powell whispered, pointing to a massive ship shaped like an elongated insect. Ellen felt her heart race. "Sam is there. I can feel it. How do we get aboard? That ship is enormous and certainly well defended." Ellen studied the vessel through the view screen. "Every ship has blind spots. We'll use the stealth technology we got from the contraband dealer." They activated the stealth system, making their small ship nearly invisible. Ellen guided it carefully toward the Vazuran vessel, approaching from beneath where sensors were likely to be weakest. "There," she said, pointing to what appeared to be a maintenance hatch. "We can dock there." Using the ship's mind interface, Ellen brought their craft alongside the Vazuran vessel and extended a docking tube. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. "Ready?" Ellen asked, checking her weapons. Dr. Powell nodded, her face pale but determined. "For Amy, for all our children," Ellen agreed. They entered the Vazuran ship through the maintenance hatch. The interior was lit with a greenish glow that made Ellen's skin look sickly. The corridors were tall and wide, designed for beings larger than humans. "According to the scan, the life forms we're looking for are 2 levels up," Dr. Powell whispered, looking at a small device. "The children are being kept together." They moved through the ship cautiously, hiding whenever Vazuran crew members passed by. Ellen's military training proved invaluable as she led them through service tunnels and air ducts to avoid detection. Meanwhile, in the habitat area, Sam and the other children were putting their plan into action. Using the tool Lucy had stolen, Sam had managed to access a control panel. He didn't understand the Vazuran language, but he had watched them enough to recognize certain patterns. "This one turns off the lights," he whispered, pointing to a symbol. "And this one opens doors. When I say go, Lucy, you hit the lights. Zach, you and Ryan push this button repeatedly. It should open and close doors all over this section." "What about the rest of us?" asked Mia, who at 12 was the oldest. "Make noise," Sam said. "Lots of noise. We want to distract them." Lucy looked worried. "What if they hurt us?" "They won't," Sam said with more confidence than he felt. "They need us alive for their research. Click told me they're taking us to their homeworld for more tests. We have to act now." Sam gave the signal and the children sprang into action. The lights went out. Doors began opening and closing randomly, and 5 children started screaming and banging on walls. The Vazuran guards outside the habitat rushed in, clicking in alarm. In the confusion, Sam slipped out the door behind them, pulling Lucy with him. "Now what?" Lucy whispered. "We find a way to contact whoever's coming for us," Sam said. Click showed me their communication room. "It's this way." As alarms blared throughout the ship, Ellen and Dr. Powell heard the commotion from 2 corridors away. "Something's happening," Ellen said. "We need to move faster." They rounded a corner and came face to face with 2 Vazuran guards. The insect-like aliens raised their weapons, but Ellen was faster. She fired her energy weapon twice, sending both guards crumpling to the floor. "Did you kill them?" Dr. Powell asked. "Stunned," Ellen replied. "I'm not here to start a war." They continued toward the source of the commotion. The ship's layout became confusing, with identical corridors branching in multiple directions. Ellen relied on her instincts, following a feeling that grew stronger with each step. "This way," she said, turning left at a junction. "The scanner says right," Dr. Powell objected. "Trust me," Ellen insisted. "A mother knows." In the communication room, Sam and Lucy hid behind a console as 2 Vazuran technicians worked frantically at their stations. The room was filled with screens showing different parts of the ship. "Look," Lucy whispered, pointing to one screen. "Those don't look like Vazurans." Sam peered at the screen. Two figures in dark clothing were moving through a corridor, weapons drawn. One was tall with short brown hair, moving with a familiar confidence that made Sam's heart leap. "That's my mom," he gasped. "That's my mom." The Vazuran technicians heard him and turned. One reached for an alarm button. Lucy reacted instantly, throwing the stolen tool at the alien's head. It hit with a clang, distracting the Vazuran long, enough for Sam to dart forward and slam his hand on a large red button, the emergency communication system. His voice echoed throughout the entire ship. "Mom, we're in the communication room, Level 3, Section 7. Supreme Researcher Kuzatak heard the human child's voice and clicked in fury. "Secure the specimens. All security personnel to Level 3. Ellen heard Sam's voice through the ship's communication system and felt a surge of fierce joy. "That's my boy," she said, breaking into a run. "Level 3, Section 7. They encountered more Vazuran guards as they raced through the ship, but Ellen was unstoppable. She fired her weapon with precision, disabling aliens twice her size without slowing down. Dr. Powell followed, using a shield device to deflect return fire. When they reached the communication room, they found it surrounded by Vazuran security. Forces engaged in a standoff. Inside, Sam and Lucy had barricaded themselves behind equipment. "Stand aside," Ellen told the Vazurans, her weapon raised. "I am here for my son." A larger Vazuran stepped forward, its carapace adorned with symbols of authority. It was Supreme Researcher Kuzatak. "These specimens are Vazuran property." Kuzatak clicked, the sound translated by Ellen's earpiece. "Your presence here is a violation of Vazuran sovereignty." "My son is not property," Ellen said, her voice deadly calm. "And I have declared justified pursuit, recognized by the Concord." Kuzatak's antennae twitched. "You are not Concord citizens. The right of pursuit does not apply." "Then we have no laws between us," Ellen replied, raising her weapon. "And I will take back what's mine by any means necessary." Inside the communication room, Sam watched through the window as his mother faced down the Vazuran leader. He had never seen her look so fierce, so dangerous. Yet he recognized the look in her eyes, the same look she got when a bear had once wandered too close to their campsite. The look of a mother protecting her child. "Lucy," Sam whispered, "get ready to run when I say so." The standoff in the corridor was about to explode into violence when another voice came over the ship's communication system. It was Captain Zaylor of the Concord Peacekeeping Force. "Vazuran research vessel, this is the Concord Enforcers. We have detected unauthorized specimen collection from a non-Concord world. Stand down and prepare for boarding under Section 7 of the Biological Research Protocols." Kuzatak's compound eyes shifted, calculating possibilities. Ellen didn't wait for the alien to decide. She fired at the ceiling, creating a shower of sparks that confused the Vazuran guards. Then she rushed forward, smashing through the communication room window. "Sam," she cried, seeing her son for the first time in months. "Mom!" Sam ran to her, with Lucy close behind. Ellen wrapped her arms around her son, holding him tight. "I found you," she whispered. "I found you." The reunion between Ellen and Sam was brief. Vazuran security forces were regrouping in the corridor, and the ship's alarms blared continuously. "We need to move," Ellen said, looking at her son with pride. "Can you run?" Sam nodded. "Yes, but we need to get the other kids too." "Dr. Powell is looking for them," Ellen explained. "Where are they being kept?" "Level 2 in the habitat area," Lucy answered. "But they moved some kids to the labs for tests." Ellen checked her weapon. "We'll find them all. Stay behind me." As they moved to leave the communication room, they found their path blocked by a young Vazuran with lighter coloring than the others. Ellen raised her weapon, but Sam grabbed her arm. "No, Mom. That's Click. He's been helping us." The young Vazuran made a series of soft clicks that Ellen's translator converted. "This way, safe path." Ellen hesitated, then nodded. "Lead on, but any tricks and I'll stun you like the others." Click led them through service corridors and maintenance shafts too small for adult Vazirans. They emerged near the habitat area where Dr. Powell was trying to open the locked door while the children inside pounded and shouted. "Ellen!" Dr. Powell called out when she saw them. "I found them, but I can't get the door open." Click stepped forward and placed his clawed hand on a panel. The door slid open, revealing 5 frightened children who rushed out, hugging Sam and Lucy. "Where's Amy?" Dr. Powell asked, looking for her niece. "In the lab," a small boy answered. "With Mia. They took them this morning." Ellen turned to Click. "Take us to the labs, now." As they moved through the ship, they encountered less resistance. Captain Zaylor's Concord enforcers had boarded the vessel and were engaging the Vazuran security forces in other sections. They reached the lab area and found it eerily quiet. The doors were unlocked, the rooms empty except for strange equipment. In the final room, they found Amy and Mia, both unconscious on examination tables. Dr. Powell rushed to Amy's side. "She's alive," she said with relief. "Just sedated." Ellen and Sam carefully removed the restraints and monitoring devices from both girls. As they worked, the ship suddenly shuddered violently. "What was that?" Sam asked. Click made urgent clicking sounds. "Self-destruct sequence. Supreme Researcher destroying evidence." "How long do we have?" Ellen demanded. 20 minutes, Click answered. "But security will block way to your ship." Ellen thought quickly. "Is there another way off this ship? Escape pods?" Click nodded. "Follow." With Ellen carrying Mia and Dr. Powell carrying Amy, they followed Click through more service corridors. The other children stayed close, helping each other as the ship continued to shake. "Why are you helping us?" Ellen asked Click as they ran. "Research wrong," Click replied. "Taking young ones against laws. Against honor." They reached a bay with several oval-shaped pods. Click operated a control panel, opening the nearest pod. "This take you to Concord ship," he explained. "Tell Captain Zaylor that junior researcher Tsilik provided evidence of violations." "That's you?" Sam asked. "Your name is Tsilik?" Click made an affirmative gesture. "Go now. 15 minutes remaining." As they loaded the children into the escape pod, the door at the end of the bay burst open. Supreme Researcher Kuzatak entered with 4 security guards, all holding weapons. "The specimens will remain," Kuzatak declared. "Our research is too valuable to lose." Ellen stepped forward, placing herself between the Vazurans and the children. "Your research is over. The Concord knows what you've done." "The Concord knows nothing," Kuzatak replied. "When this ship is destroyed, all evidence will be lost. We will claim the humans attacked us." "Not all evidence," Dr. Powell said, holding up a small device. "I've downloaded your research logs. The Concord already has copies." Kuzatak's antennae twitched in anger. "Then none of you will leave alive." The Vazuran leader raised a weapon. Click moved with surprising speed, throwing himself at Kuzatak. The 2 Vazurans tumbled to the floor, clicking furiously at each other. The security guards hesitated, unsure whether to fire with their leader in the way. Ellen didn't hesitate. She fired, 4 precise shots stunning each guard in rapid succession. By the time she turned back to Kuzatak and Click, the young researcher was lying motionless on the floor. Kuzatak stood over him, weapon raised. Ellen fired again, but Kuzatak dodged with inhuman speed. The Vazuran leader fired back, the energy, blast grazing Ellen's arm. Sam watched in horror as his mother battled the alien scientist. Ellen moved with a grace and precision he had never seen before, each movement calculated and efficient. This was not his gentle mother who made pancakes on Sundays. This was a Marine Scout sniper protecting her child. Kuzatak fired again, but Ellen rolled behind a console. "You don't understand humans," she called out. "We're not just specimens. We're parents who will cross galaxies for our children." "Your primitive emotions make you weak," Kuzatak replied, moving closer to Ellen's position. "No," Ellen said, suddenly, rising from a different spot than Kuzatak expected. "They make us dangerous." She fired 3 shots in rapid succession. The first 2 missed as Kuzatak moved, but the third struck the Vazuran in the center of its thorax. Kuzatak collapsed, clicking weakly. Ellen approached cautiously, weapon still raised. It's over. The children are going home. The ship shuddered again, more violently. A computerized voice announced, 10 minutes to core breach. Ellen checked on Click, who was stunned but alive. With Sam's help, they carried the young Vazuran to the escape pod. Why are we taking him? One of the children asked. Because he helped us, Sam replied. And we don't leave friends behind. The escape pod launched away from the Vazuran vessel, carrying Ellen, Dr. Powell, 7 human children and 1 young Vazuran researcher. Through the viewport, they watched as the massive research ship grew smaller. Captain Zalor's Conquered Enforcer vessel retrieved their pod before the Vazuran ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light and energy. Aboard the conquered ship, the children received medical treatment while Ellen provided Captain Zalor with a full account of what had happened. The Vazurans will face sanctions for their violations, Zalor assured her. And your world will be placed under Concord protection to prevent future incidents. What about Silik? Sam asked. The young researcher will receive asylum, Zalor replied. His testimony will be valuable in the proceedings against the Vazuran Science Authority. And us? Ellen asked. How do we get home? Zalor's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. We will return you to your world, but first, there is interest among the Concord leadership in establishing formal contact with humans. Your actions have impressed many species. We just want to go home, Ellen said, putting her arm around Sam's shoulders. And you will, Zalor promised. But you have changed the galaxy's perception of humanity. Some feared your species might be too aggressive when you eventually reached the stars. Others worried you would be too weak to survive in the cosmic community. You have shown that humans are neither. You are protectors, willing to cross the void of space for your young. 3 weeks later, Ellen and Sam sat on their back porch in Oakridge, looking up at the stars. All 7 children had been returned safely to their families. The government had classified the entire incident, but rumors spread through the small town. Do you think they'll come back? Sam asked. His telescope now pointed at a different part of the sky than before. Ellen shook her head. No. The Concord will make sure of that. Click said he might visit someday when he's older, Sam said. He wants to be an explorer, not a scientist. Ellen smiled. He'd be welcome here. Mom? Sam asked after a moment of silence. Are you still the galaxy's most fearsome hunter? Ellen pulled her son close. Only if someone threatens my boy. Above them, invisible to their eyes, a Concord observation satellite maintained its watch over Earth. In the Concord species database, the entry for humans had been updated. Approach with caution and respect. Will become fearsome hunters when their young are threatened.